Indonesia is considering taxing ships transiting the Strait of Malacca, one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. The Indonesian finance minister says the proposal aligns with President Prabowo Subianto's directive to position Indonesia as a central player in global trade. He added that any levy will need to be coordinated with neighbouring countries. The strait is bordered by Indonesia, Malaysia and Singapore, and a critical artery for global trade, linking the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Now, CNA's senior correspondent Saifulbahri Ismail joins us live now from Jakarta. Saiful, what are some of the key details of Indonesia's plan to tax ships transiting the strait?
Well, Angela, the thinking behind Indonesia's idea of introducing a ship tax in the Strait of Malacca is actually quite straightforward. To better monetize one of the world's busiest trade routes, the proposal draws on a recent example from Iran, which has introduced a kind of toll system in the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran argues these charges are essentially service fees for maintaining security and keeping the waterway safe, similar in concept to how the Suez Canal operates. Now, Indonesia's Finance Minister Purbaya Yudi Sadewa has suggested that such a levy were introduced in the Malacca Strait. The revenue could be shared among the three littoral states, Indonesia, Malaysia and Singapore. But for now, this is still very much at an early stage. Mr. Purbaya himself has acknowledged that it won't be implemented anytime soon. Reaching agreement between the three countries would be complex, and there's also likely to be pushback from the global shipping industry, which relies heavily on the strait. Now, that said, the potential revenue could be significant. Analysts say funds from such a levy could go toward national priority programs, including initiatives like the Free Nutritious Meal Program. And politically, it's an attractive idea. The government has said it wants to avoid introducing new domestic taxes, so targeting international shipping rather than Indonesian citizens offers a way to generate additional revenue without adding pressure on the public. Still, whether this proposal gains traction will depend on regional cooperation and how the global maritime community responds.
Now, Saiful, given the situation now in the Strait of Hormuz as well, it looks like major powers like the US also has its eye on the Strait of Malacca. Is that right?
That's certainly right, Angela. On Saturday afternoon, a U.S. warship, the USS Miguel Keith, was spotted transiting the Strait of Malacca. Now, this isn't just any vessel. It's a 240-meter-long ship designed as a floating command base. The U.S. Navy says the transit was routine following maintenance work in South Korea. But despite those assurances, the ship's presence has raised concerns in the region. Some worry it could signal a risk of the Strait of Malacca and countries along it being drawn into the wider US-Israel conflict with Iran. That concern is heightened by reports that sanctioned Iranian vessels have been using so-called shadow fleet networks to move oil through these waters to Asian buyers, particularly China. For its part, Indonesia has played down the risks. Officials say the passage of the U.S. warship is not a cause for alarm, and one lawmaker has dismissed fears of Indonesia being pulled into a Middle East conflict. Still, experts say the risks shouldn't be ignored. The Strait of Malacca is one of the world's most strategic shipping lanes, and that alone makes it sensitive to global tensions. They warn that Indonesia could face pressure if it fails to strike the right balance, allowing freedom of navigation while still maintaining control over its own waters.
Saiful, thank you so much for that report. That was CNA's senior correspondent Saifulbahri Ismail in Jakarta.